Hey, what is going on, guys? YouTuber here, back with another video, and we have the third place deck list from YCS Toronto, a Geargia deck. As you can see, he uses the main engine of the Geargias only in the 3 Geargia accelerators, Geargia armors, and Geargia arsenals. So he's not using any of the other stuff. He's not using card curries either. He's using the Machina engine. So we're going to go through the deck list, and this is basically a commentary on the meta, because it's amazing how, literally, within the space of a single weekend, with the ban list changing everything, the roundup of the top 16, top 32, even the top 64 decks has completely changed and has been completely modified by this ban list. It's been a while since I've seen such a drastic change like that. But in any case, let's get on to the deck list. So we have 3 Geargia accelerators, 3 Geargia armors, and 2 Geargia arsenals. These are basically the main Geargia engine. They allow them to search, special summon for free, get rank 4 XYZs out very, very easily, pull out Geargia monsters from the deck, etc. And this is basically the reason why Geargias do so well. Geargia armor. 1900, which means Thunder King and a lot of other anti-meta cards can't get over him. And he's just a free searcher. And if you can keep flipping him up and back down and so forth, you can basically keep on searching. He might have even used Photon Papal Operative at one point to flip his Geargia armor up twice in the same turn, who knows. That would be pretty pro, actually. As for the Machina engine, he's got Machina Cannon, 2 Machina Fortress, 3 Machina Gear Frame, and 1 Machina Peacekeeper. And believe it or not, that is it for the monsters. Only 15 monsters, but he has a very, very heavy trap lineup, similar to the wind-up build that we've seen. So perhaps this is a format, as I've said, that is going to slow down a lot, and for that reason, people will be running more traps. So, as for the spells, we have Monster Reborn, Heavy Storm, Dark Hole. I've put these in my own order, by the way. 1 Mystical Space Typhoon. It's odd to see a single copy. 2 Pots of Duality, since it is now down to 2. 1 Forbidden Lance, 1 Book of Moon, 1 Soul Taker, and 1 Pot of Avarice. Well, as for the spells, I like them a lot, actually. Because if he Pot of Dualities into a Geargia armor, that's fine, because he can just set it. If he Pot of Dualities into a Machina Gear Frame, he can just normal summon it. So, Pot of Duality is a very good tech in this deck, is what I'm saying. What I don't get is the Forbidden Lance, Book of Moon, and the Soul Taker. If he's going to main deck any of them, it would be Book of Moon. But if he's going to run any of them in multiples, it would be one or the other, Soul Taker or Forbidden Lance. Running one of both, you're just not going to draw into either of them consistently enough for when you need them. I generally don't like single copies of cards in general, apart from the large, like, you know, the big ones, the staples, like Monster Reborn, Heavy Storm, and Dark Hole. In any case, onto the traps. Very, very heavy trap lineup. Again, very, very similar to the wind-up there, and I haven't looked at any of the other deck lists from the top 8 yet, but I will do that very, very soon and try and get some deck profiles up for you guys. So we have 2 Compulsories, 2 Bottomless Trapple, 2 Mirror Force, 2 Starlight Road, Solemn Judgment, and 2 Solemn Warnings, the Solemn Brigade as it's called. 1 Dimensional Prison, 1 Fiendish Chain. Again, the single copies of cards, very, very odd. I would have gone for 2D Prisons, Fiendish Chain, and 2 Tranquil Tributes. As for the extra deck, 2 Gear Gigant X, 1 Vylon Disigma, 1 Photon Papal Operative, 2 Utopias, and 1 Utopia Ray. I don't see Utopia Ray that often anymore, actually. 1 Maestroke to Symphony Djinn, because he's broke. And 1 Gemini Pearl to get over the Utopia, at least to force it to negate an attack. 2 Stardust Dragons to accompany the Starlight Roads. 1 Big Eye on the off chance that he overlays 2 Magnet Fortresses. 1 Steelswarm Roach for those decks that like to run big monsters, such as Chaos Dragons. And plenty more, which I can't really think of right now. And finally, Shockmaster, amazing card, really, really good. The best example I can think of Shockmaster being useful is against Dark Worlds. You just pick spells. They're like, can't do anything. We're screwed. Side deck we have Forbidden Chalice, Forbidden Lance, Smashing Ground, 2 Dimensional Fitters, 2 Mystical Space Typhoons, 1 Max C, 1 Light Imprisoning Mirror, 2 Shadow Imprisoning Mirrors, 2 Rivalry of Warlords, and 2 Fossil Dyna Pachycephalo. Yeah, not too bad. Fossil Dyna, I don't really get the Fossil Dyna, to be honest. But again, it sort of falls into that category of the duality logic. Because if you duality into a Fossil Dyna that you've sighted in, and you have like a gear frame and all this other stuff in your hand, and you don't intend to be special summoning anytime soon, you can afford to stall with back row like this. And so you'll just set your Fossil Dyna against the likes of windups, and then they have to attack, really. They can't really use effects to get over much of anything, unless they have Photon Papal Operative. And then, if they use Photon Papal Operative to flip him up, he'll just blow up Papal Operative, as well as his carrier and take a detachable material off his Zen mains and, you know, just be generally trolly. Yeah, it's a really good side. Rivalry of Warlords, of course, everyone is like, System Down versus Geargia is amazing, so just side in System Down. But to be honest, Rivalry of Warlords is a better anti-side against System Down, because your opponent may be able to take advantage and get like a 4-for-1 deal on removing your cards. But they're not really going to be able to take advantage after that if you have Rivalry of Warlords face them on the field, because they won't be able to summon anything. Or at least won't be able to summon multiple copies of cards unless they're the same type. Shadow Piercing Mirrors, of course, Executors are dead now, but Dark Worlds aren't, and you still need to side against Dark Worlds, so that was a very good choice on his part. Lion Piercing Mirrors, from the odd chance that, you know, Heretics perhaps will be around, maybe Lightsworns are making a comeback. I do have a deck profile up from my friend Dean, actually, to do with Lightsworns, so be sure to check that out if you haven't already. The single copy of Max C, I think people have sort of calmed down now regarding Max C, because it used to be just kind of for windups, and windups can still swarm the field. They start Magician Shark and they pretty much win. But maybe this guy wasn't too worried about Max C. Maybe he was able to, or about swarming rather. Maybe he was able to handle it. The two other Mystical Space Typhoons, I guess that's just for stuff that runs, decks that run back row as heavy as his. And he's pretty worried about that. Dimensional Fissures, because these guys don't concentrate too heavily on the graveyard, the only exception being Geargia Accelerator when you send from the field to the graveyard. And of course the cost for Machina Fortress, they have to hit the graveyard. So not too sure why he would side in these, to be honest with you. I mean, that'd be something I would side in against this deck. Along with the System Dance. So it's a little confusing, but I guess he might have had his reasons. Maybe it screwed over other decks more so than his, like Dark Worlds. Like, if he was paying attention to the Dark Worlds, he'd be like, Shadow Prisonings and Dimensional Fissures. That would kind of completely screw them over. The one tech Smashing Ground. I don't know why people run Smashing Ground when they can run Cell Taker. Fair enough, there's not really a timing issue anymore apart from Elemental Heroes. But at the same time, Smashing Ground, you don't get to choose the monster, and that's why I think that Cell Taker is such a better card. Forbidden Lance, I think he should have this in the main deck, to be honest with you. Forbidden Chalice, I can definitely understand that against windups and so forth. But Forbidden Chalice was much more crucial to draw against windups in the old days, because of course they could loop you if you didn't draw it alongside your Veilers. And that is something that is interesting to note, is that he has no effect Veilers in the main deck or the side deck. He just has the one Fiendish Chain to stop effects, as well as a huge amount of field control, so perhaps that sustained him. The deck is good. I like it a lot. I don't really understand the single copies of things, but in any case, I'm going to leave the video there. Be sure to let me know what you guys think of this deck. I'll be sure to have plenty more decks coming up from the top 8. The ones that I find interesting, not the boring ones like windups, for example, or Chainburn, which is just trolling, and it hasn't changed in quite a long time. Anyway guys, I'm going to leave the video there. Be sure to comment, rate, and subscribe. As always, I am Weebly YouTuber, and I am signing out. Peace guys.